in person, and I've never met Governor Jindal in person, but I can see why both of these men like these two guys in the race. I believe Jindal to be a God-fearing, honest man, and I believe Trump to be an honest and very tough and very successful businessman, and it just might do our country good to actually have another businessman. It's not as if we've never had businessmen in the White House before, but it would do us. I think it would do us some good to have another businessman in the Oval Office for a change. Might work. Well, we've been doing politicians for so many years, and that hasn't worked. So, giving a businessman a shot might be just what the country needs. And speaking of politicians, the current one is over there in Kenya, causing all kinds of difficulties for Kenyan security forces because this is noted as being the president's most dangerous trip to date. Now, I find that kind of interesting that the lamestream media would tout this, the president's trip to his father's homeland, his alleged father's homeland, as being the most dangerous trip that the president has taken yet. Now, why would that be so? Because Kenya is an African black nation, right? And he's often said many times that this is not a Christian nation, the United States, and Obama's black. Well, he's half black, so at least so he kind of looks like them. So why would if the United States is so racist, and then you would think that if he was going to be with his own people, that he'd be a hell of a lot more safe than he is here. But the mainstream media is saying him going to Kenya is the most dangerous trip that the president has taken. Yeah, more. Well, I don't. Has the president been to the Middle East? I know Bush has been to Afghanistan and Iraq, so he snuck in a couple of times. But I don't think. Has Obama gone over there? I don't recall. But even if he had, then the lamestream media is saying that this going to Kenya is the most dangerous trip he's ever taken. That tells you a lot, tells you volumes, folks. But that's not why I'm bringing up the president at the moment. He can take his trips and just another trip. He's going to, I guess, he met with his, I also love how the lamestream media calls it, not the president's family, but his father's family. Well, his father's family is his family. I'm just saying. But that's not the reason why I'm bringing up the president. The president has been noted to say something and express something about his frustrations. And this is from the WashingtonTimes.com. Obama's most frustrated. Mr. President, what are you most frustrated by? And this, again, speaks volumes about this particular person and what he believes and what he is trying to do to the American people. Not for, but to the American people. Obama has basically he was asked, about what are you most frustrated about? But Obama basically came out and said he's most frustrated by his inability to pass legitimate gun control. That's what this president is most frustrated about. Not that his economic policies aren't working. Well, he thinks they are working because they're doing what he wants them to do. But let's put it on a real, non-liberal, non-fantasy world success basis. I would be frustrated about that. You think he would be frustrated about what's going on in Syria and Iraq with ISIS and ISIL. You think he'd be frustrated with, people like Putin. You think he'd be a little frustrated with what's going on in the South China Sea in China. You think he'd be frustrated with all the maneuvers and practices that China's been having geared towards invading Taiwan. You think he'd be frustrated about a whole bunch of things, but that are more important than gun control, but he's most frustrated by his inability to pass gun control. Now, just hours before a gunman claimed 3 lives inside a Louisiana movie theater. Now, you have to understand, it was 2 lives plus the gunman. But I love how they try to build up the numbers. Well, there are 3 people were killed in a Louisiana theater. And then small caption, including the gunman. So the gunman killed 2 people and himself. So it's almost like a murder-suicide. But just before a gunman claimed 3 lives inside a Louisiana movie theater, President Obama on Thursday said the inability to pass gun control legislation has been the frustrating aspect of his presidency. Out of everything that's gone on in the past 6.5 years involving his presidency, he is most frustrated about his inability to pass gun control legislation. Now, in an interview with the BBC recorded Thursday afternoon, the president vowed to continue trying, but seemed resigned to the fact that this Congress is unlikely to approve any significant changes to gun laws, and that is just frustrating for him because they're not. This Congress doesn't seem to be in the mood to mess with people's constitutional rights when it comes to guns. Oh, well, yeah, I guess when you hate the Constitution and you're trying to destroy the Constitution and pick it apart and tear it apart and shred it and do all that kind of stuff, yeah, when you have somebody who's people who are standing in your way, I can see how that can be quite frustrating. Hey, just saying. I don't I don't know. Well, it is what it is. 50 Cent, by the way, for those that don't know, 50 Cent is his first huge mega hit album was titled "Get Rich or Die Trying." Well, evidently, it's now "Go Broke" without trying. 50 Cent doesn't have 6 million. Doesn't have 6 million, and apparently he doesn't have 50 cents to his name. But New York jury says that rapper 50 Cent, also known as Curtis Jackson III, must pay another $2 million in a sex tape lawsuit. New York City has found that rapper 50 Cent must pay an additional $2 million in punitive damages to a woman featured in a sex tape posted to the internet. Now, the juror's decision Friday came 2 weeks after they ordered the multi-platinum selling artist to pay $5 million to Lestonia Leviston. Now, Leviston's invasion of privacy lawsuit argues that 50 Cent posted online a crudely narrated 13-minute sex tape she made with a boyfriend back in 2008. In the video, he taunts rival rapper Rick Ross, who isn't featured in the video, but has a child with Leviston. Now, after the jury's initial verdict, Jackson filed for bankruptcy protection in Connecticut. And a lawyer for Leviston has urged jurors to award her $15 million. Now, Jackson's attorney had asked them to order he pay only $700,000. I don't know, exactly what 50 Cent was thinking when he narrated, but I didn't know about the sex tape. I guess I'm a sheltered, talk show host when it comes to this kind of stuff, and I like to think that I'm following, the pop culture so I can accurately discuss it and talk about it with you and inform you about it. But I missed this one. But to be fair, I don't know. I don't know when the tape aired, but she was with a boyfriend back in 2008. So to be fair, this happened before I got on the air, and I still didn't know about it. I don't remember it, but everybody has did a sex tape video. Isn't that how you get famous? Even Paris Hilton and the Kardashians have sex tape videos, don't they? It's how you get famous nowadays. You have something shocking like that. And if Leviston, I don't know, if she had somebody that could have guided her through this, she probably could be a reality star right now and making millions of dollars. Maybe they just told her the easy way is to sue the rapper because he's got a bazillion bucks, and as it turns out, maybe he doesn't have a bazillion bucks. And he claims that he's only worth $4 or $5 million bucks, I guess. I don't know, but I think Forbes once had him valued at over $100 million. And I don't know how he's only worth 4 or 5. Get Rich or Die Trying. It was a huge selling out, and he made like $18 to $20 million off that album alone back then. So people really got to learn how to handle their dough. 50 Cent obviously is acting like the government. Just saying. But I am not a fan of rap music, but I kind of liked 50 Cent. I really did. But I know people are saying, well, Rod, this is, you're coming to the end of your show and you're talking about 50 Cent and you haven't said anything about Cruz calling McConnell a liar. And to me, I'm like, well, that's not news. I've always known McConnell's a liar. Oh, you want to know my take on what it means for Cruz to call McConnell a liar? It doesn't matter if I call McConnell a liar or not. It's what Cruz said that's really the big story. Well, it is kind of a big story. It is kind of a big deal. But at the same time, I'm going to say that I expect Cruz to actually call this guy out and call him a liar because, after all, he's running for president. So he's got to, and Donald Trump is getting all the press at the moment. So he's got to do something that's kind of has shock value. Now, my question is why isn't Rand Paul backing him up? I don't hear Rand Paul running around out there talking about, McConnell being a liar. I'm not saying that Cruz did a bad thing. He did a good thing in my book. I'm just saying is why aren't there more Senate politicians on the Republican side that are backing up Cruz and saying exactly the same thing? Until then, I don't think we really have that much of a story, simply because what the mainstream media is gonna throw this off as, Cruz running for office and he's just trying to get points with the voting public because he's falling behind or he hasn't been able to take the lead from Trump or Bush or what have you. So he's not the front runner. So he's trying to get to that point. And this is how they're going to play this off. Don't doubt me, because this is how they always play this kind of stuff off. So unless more politicians, especially those who are not running for the presidency at this particular point, come out and back Cruz up, this is not going to be a big story other than in the talk show circles on the conservative side. And I'm not going to get into that fray at this moment because it's kind of useless. Yeah, that's just my personal belief on it. And besides, it's Friday. We're trying not to be all that serious anyway. So, I'd rather talk about Chris Brown being stuck in the Philippines. Oh, yeah. Well, evidently he did something. He canceled a concert back for New Year's or something in the Philippines, and they want him detained held on and sued or charged with fraud or something like that. So Chris Brown, the bad boy of the music world, one of the bad boys, is still having more and more troubles. Well, maybe he can sing his way out of it. I don't know. Well, that sound, folks, means that we're out of time, not only for tonight, but for the week. Have a great weekend, folks. We'll be back here right on time on Monday. I'm Rod Eccles. This has been the Rod Eccles Show. I'm out.